I'm really just doing just all I know, because before all that, I had a ton of street fighting experience. So, I grew up in LA. When I was in juvenile, like when I was a kid, I was like 15 through like 23. I was like in and out of jail through juvenile hall, boot camps, LA County Jail a ton of times. And, I just got in a lot of fights, being gang affiliated, you got enemies in there and just, it's automatic. And I feel like, I bring that into like my persona and the way I fight. Like I get a lot of like people saying I look so calm in there, and really just because I'm just comfortable.
Unleashed with the Dingo and Danny, fueled by Monster Energy.
Man, this is pretty cool.
This is history.
Are we live? All right, we're live. I'm checking on my things. We have D-Rod in here. Let's give it up for D-Rod.
In here. Thanks for having me.
Man, you are our first guest that is officially... Oh, that's me. Sorry, we're live. I got to turn it down.
He loves watching himself.
My bad. What's up, guys? You are the first guest that we've had that is in camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're like... Are you cutting weight already?
Yeah, no, actually, I just fought like not too long ago.
I watched it. She was there.
Yep. So you're staying in shape.
Yeah. And jumped like I was only off for like a week. Just kicked it, ate a couple cheeseburgers, and hopped right back in it.
Is that your go-to as soon as you can eat food? Cheeseburger?
Normally pizza.
Pizza?
Pizza guy, yeah.
Like a. Do you have like a pizza, like a local pizza, or is it just doesn't matter? It's got to be thin crust.
Yeah, I'm a thin crust fan.
Are you a cheese fan? Like what? What kind of cheese?
Question. What's your favorite cheese?
He's been asking everyone what his favorite cheese has been. So we have to understand.
Yeah, I gotta go with mozzarella on that one on a pizza.
Mozzarella.
That's the only cheese I've seen on a pizza, or feta.
Oh, feta's pretty good too.
Yeah.
Love cheese.
Tell him what favorite.
My favorite, I think, is Parmesan cheese right now. But I changed. I was big white cheddar guy. Burgers,
Are we talking in general or on a pizza?
Just in general, your favorite cheese.
Yeah, I gotta go with mozzarella.
Gotta make it think.
Respectable.
We have Brittany here as usual. Thank you for joining us, Brittany. UFC Octagon girl. I used to say ring girl, and she corrected me, and then she said she's a ring girl. So I'm fucking confused.
I'm the only one allowed to say it.
You're the only one allowed to say it. And then we have Danny Cass here, 2-time Olympic silver medalist, as always.
That's right.
Thanks for joining. And D-Rod. So we know a P-Rod from skateboarding. Have you ever heard of P-Rod?
Yeah, I heard of him.
Dang. Well, there's another one?
A-Rod, do you know him?
Yeah, dude, people confuse me all the time. Like, wait, aren't you A-Rod? I'm like, nah, what is D-Rod?
You're like, yeah, man, J-Lo was fucking... So let's back it up real quick. So the last fight you fought in, you won, went to decision. Going to decision is always tough because you don't know which way it can go. Once it's in the judge's hands, it could go anyway.
Yep.
That fight, you didn't switch out. The other fighter switched out, right?
Yeah. The whole man, that was crazy how that happened. But the top 3 fights, they all switched up.
That whole fight in general was gnarly because we were told there was going to be a brawl backstage. We told people were like on high alert. Dana was telling people to be careful backstage because what was going on. The 3 main fights, you guys all got switched up. I feel that the UFC gods were out for Nate Diaz that night.
Yeah, it worked out for him. The matchups actually worked out better than when it was originally.
Because it could have been bad.
So wait, when you say switched up, do you mean switch fighters?
Yeah, like
whoa.
Yeah, because I think it was because Kamzat missed weight or something like that, and Nate Diaz didn't take the fight, so I kind of left them without a main event. Well, there would have been a main event, but there would have been 2 fighters out of the fight right there. So it actually worked out. Nate and Tony, and then Kevin Holland and then Kamzat, and then me and Jing Liang was like kind of perfect. But I just didn't expect it.
It was crazy how that worked. I mean, that was the first time in UFC history that we were just like, wait, what? How is this? Okay. That like it all kind of really worked out.
Yeah, it did because I had been injured for a year. Well, not a year, but I was out for a year.
You had an elbow infection.
Oh yeah, that was recently. That was the most recently. I was supposed to fight, I think 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago. And yeah, I got this nasty like MRSA infection on my elbow, and I had this first time ever I had to be pulled from the fight, but it worked out that Magny accepted to push the fight back a couple weeks, and I'm about to get back in there.
She fight in Apex.
Yeah.
Do you like fighting? So I saw here you're really kind of your first fight was UFC Fight Night 167, February 2020. If my time does me correctly here, that was pre-COVID, and that was at an audience.
Yeah, that was it was Rancho, it was Albuquerque, and that was the only fight in the UFC up until the last one where I fought in the crowd, and then every fight after that has been at Apex.
So are you used to fighting in a crowd, no crowd? Where are you at right now?
To be honest with you, I got used to Apex, man.
Yeah, that's kind of tough, right?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like it. The rings, the octagon's a little bit smaller, and it reminds me a lot of like sparring or something like that. You go into a new gym or something, and all you can hear is your coaches. It's real quiet, and I kind of like it. Actually, I have the most wins at Apex right now. Actually, I have the most fights at Apex.
Well, do you ever feel a difference not having the audience? Like, is there less pressure on you almost?
Honestly, it didn't. I didn't really feel any pressure at all. It was just cool to see. It was cool. I felt the energy. It's an energy thing.
It's definitely an energy thing, and I think that you're right because you can hear your corner way louder, but then you can also hear the opponent's corner, and that's probably helping you out too.
Yeah, that helps a lot. but with the crowd, to be honest with you, I can't really hear my coaches.
Yeah,
no, I can't really hear them.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
And the energy is different. I think there are certain fighters that, again, you're not the first person that said they prefer that because you guys train in a gym every day that is pretty much like Apex. So you're used to it, and going into it mentally, you can just mentally prepare yourself like, all right, we're going in. It's a fight, but I don't need to get the nervousness of this huge crowd and everything that goes with it, which probably makes it easier. So good luck. Good for you that you're fighting Apex.
Yeah, this will be, I think, my 8th fight at Apex.
So what's crazy? I was looking here. You didn't grow up. You didn't grow up actually training martial arts.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. I didn't actually walk into a mixed martial arts gym until I was 25.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And what drove you to walk into that gym?
I was just a fan. At the time I was working construction, and I would just drive past it every day. But at the time I was just like a super fan. And I would pass by all the time, and I was like, man, I want to go there one day. But I never had the balls. So I think for a lot of people, the hardest part is like actually walking into the gym and then realize, oh, it's not so bad. But a lot of people are intimidated by it. And actually, as a gift, as an anniversary gift, my girl at the time, she gave me a membership because I used to talk about all the time, like, man, I want to train. So yeah, and I've just been going ever since.
So let's thank her.
Yeah, yeah, that was cool. That was best gift ever.
Who were the fighters that you looked up to?
At the time, it was, I remember I had just got out of jail. I had been away for a little bit, and I got out, and my cousin hit me up. He's like, hey man, there's this dude named Rampage fighting. And I was like, oh, who the fuck's Rampage? He sounds sick. Like his name's Rampage. And then I went, and that was when he lost the title to Forrest Griffin. And after that, I just became a fan. And then I discovered, like, I started watching Chuck Liddell. And like Chuck Liddell was like my favorite. And then I just loved it. Like Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, Cowboy. The list goes on, and it's crazy. Like about Cowboy, how we ended up being friends. It's fucking dope.
Because it's funny you mentioned Rampage. Rampage was literally sitting here like a few episodes ago in right there, and we were talking about his upbringing, and his upbringing was very kind of similar to yours. He grew up in Nashville, and it was more, he grew up kind of street brawler. He ended up going away, and it wasn't until he went away that he re-identified himself and was able to come out of there and build. And then like you, like kind of like step into the gym. You know, obviously it's no secret, but you know, growing up for you a bit like gang affiliated and fighting and street fighting, that has probably given you an extra power that some of these guys don't have. And you've just had to probably realign yourself.
Yeah.
And there's instincts that you have, but there's instincts that you've had to learn, and patience and all these things about being able to take your skill set into where you're at now. But it must be nice to be able to take, let's say, the skill set and make a career out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I really just fell into this and I really just doing just all I know, because before all that, I had a ton of street fighting experience. So, I grew up in LA. When I was in juvenile, like when I was a kid, I was like 15 through like 23. I was like in and out of jail through juvenile hall, boot camps, LA County Jail a ton of times. And, I just got in a lot of fights, being gang affiliated, you got enemies in there, and just, it's automatic. And I feel like, I bring that into like my persona and the way I fight. Like, I get a lot of like people saying I look so calm in there, and really just because I'm just comfortable. I'm comfortable in uncomfortable situations,
Yeah. Do you think in boot camp, in those situations, do you think that has helped you later in life?
Yeah, I'd say the only positive thing that I ever got from like being incarcerated so much is wanting to work out so much. Like I kind of like program myself to like, because when you're in there, you don't want to be weak. You always want to like, I wanted to be stronger. I wanted to, just be able to protect myself. And I kind of just took that into the work ethic that I carry today. And pretty much not being scared of anybody,
Yeah, well, that's also helps.
Yeah.
I'm scared of Danny.
Yeah. I'm scared of the gym. Shit, I feel the same way about martial arts, but more about just like your basic treadmill or like the Stairmaster. That thing scares the shit out of
So
me.
what gym was it that you first walked into? Who was your first coach?
At the time, it was a gym called Tap Out Los Angeles in downtown LA.
Yep.
And
was that affiliated with the guys that own the clothing company? Or is it different?
I think it was just like a franchise thing.
Right. Because there's like UFC gyms that I don't think are affiliated with UFC, right? There's like a UFC gym like way out on the 10 that I'm like, there's no way that's theirs.
But I think that there is some affiliation,
There is.
obviously, or they can't smash that name
I
on
think
it.
I think it's a franchise thing because I know
Yeah.
the owner. He has nothing to do with the UFC.
Yeah. So it was Tap Out, the gym downtown LA.
Yeah, and at first I wanted to just be a boxer. I just like that was because before that I was like a huge boxing fan, and
Who was your favorite boxers growing up?
man, I say Oscar De La Hoya, Julio Cesar Chavez, Mike Tyson, Manny Pacquiao. Just the legends.
Yeah. What do you think about a lot of MMA fighters, not say USA, a lot of MMA fighters transcending back to boxing or going to boxing?
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be making, a ton of money doing it. I know Anderson Silva is about to make a ton of money. The whole Jake Paul thing, he's like helping that blow up. And Nate Diaz is not now released from the UFC, and I'm sure he's going to do something amazing.
Well, it sounds like that's what he said in his speech anyway, right?
Yeah.
And halfway through the speech, did you remember, obviously you were there, but you just fought.
Yeah.
Did you get to watch his speech live?
I didn't hear the speech, but I did get to watch the fight.
So afterwards, he started giving his speech, and I think, you know Nate really well, but like watching you could tell that he was starting to say something that he shouldn't have, and then he was just like, "Fuck it," and he's like, "Yeah, well,
I'll do it all.
I'll do it all, but I'll come back here." But it was like, "All right, dude, you just said something." But and then I wanted to note on the Anderson Silva. What do you think's going to happen? We haven't seen Jake fight somebody at Anderson's level?
Yeah, I mean, I think Anderson still has it. I mean, recently he beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who's a legit boxer.
Yep.
And I'm just interested to see the matchup because he's Anderson Silva, one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, and he still got it. I just don't see, like in the interviews and stuff and like the whole like outside of it, they're like too friendly. I don't want to get too friendly with opponents, but I could see him.
Anderson's being friendly to Jake.
Yeah, I mean they're like
because he's paying him so much money.
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
If Jake knocks out Anderson Silva, I'm gonna quit everything.
Yeah.
You don't think that he's gonna not knock him out?
I don't think he'll knock him out.
Really?
Yeah.
In a boxing match? Because
Jake Paul
is a good boxer.
I heard Anderson Silva's got a head like a rock
I want
head.
Anderson to win. We know that Anderson's my favorite fighter. I just did the podcast that I was just on, and we were talking about this. But Anderson in just boxing, I hope he wins.
I heard it. Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, I like your outlook on it though, because some people don't disagree with, like, some people disagree with that, and I think what Jake's done is it's cool for everyone.
I think he might win a decision. I don't see him knocking him out though.
No, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's been good to see, but it's crazy because as soon as Jake Paul gets knocked out, this whole run's over. Right? You're not going to get money. He's not going to get money for somebody else to fight him as soon as somebody beats him. So it's more like, all right, whoever's the first to beat him.
Right.
I think it kind of ends the stigma of what this is.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
You know, there's always people saying like, you know, maybe he's shooting him a little extra, like, yo, let me win, bro. You know.
But
that's what everyone says.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
That's probably the case. You know, that's why the guys that are fighting him are so happy. Like, yeah, bro, thank you.
But Tyrone fucking went to sleep.
Yeah.
Like that was the boringest fight ever. It was like, come on. And then all of a sudden, that's how it kind of works. So you started really late in training. So when you started preparing for your first fight, the things you had to learn were like, all right, like 3 5-minute rounds, trying to like gas out. Did you ever gas out when you first started training, not competing? Was that?
Yeah. Hell yeah. You know, even in like my first couple fights, actually in every single fight, I learned a little something different about myself that I need to work on.
And I'm looking, I could be wrong here, but you're either 17-2 or 19-2. I can't remember which one it is.
17-2.
17-2. That's a pretty good record.
Yeah, I mean, I say it to myself all the time, like, damn, like I'd be backstage and like the last day I was in the T-Mobile arena, I'm like, man, how in the hell did I end up here? From like growing up like in the hood, like I'm just like a hood fool, you know, like just, I like to fight, you know, and I remember when I first started going to the gym, like I had this crazy ass, like aggressive style, and they're like, they, you know, my coaches, they noticed that right away, and right away they're like if I missed a day at the gym, they'll be calling me like, yo, where you at? Like, get over here, you know. So shout out to them for pushing me and not letting me, you know, fall back into the life I was living.
Are you still with the same camp?
No, actually, they sent me to other places. Actually, when I started to surpass what they could do for me.
Yep, that's cool though.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, when I tell that to people, they're kind of like, wow, they're really good coaches for doing that.
So who's in the camp right now?
Right now, my camp is in Vegas, training at Syndicate and UFC PI. And when I come back to LA, I'll train with 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu, Eddie Bravo, and I got some striking coaches over at the Yard Muay Thai.
So you're in middleweight.
I'm a welterweight fighter. That last one was a catchweight.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, because it was a short notice versus Kevin Holland.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did a 180 pound catchweight because, you know, they offered it on short notice. I could have made weight, but we just agreed to that, so we wouldn't have to worry about cutting weight. Just go out there and
What
fight.
do you walk around at?
I never get higher than like 195. It's usually like 190 to 195.
And then when you, all right, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, actually that last fight was kind of like a head start on cutting weight because like this whole time my weight's been good.
Yeah. So who obviously you're in this to get the belt, but along the way, like who are you most looking forward to standing up against?
Yeah, I mean the belt would be cool. I mean, but you know, I just want to fight. I don't care about the belt. I'll fight. I just want to fight everybody. You know, and you know, just get paid, make money.
I like that.
Yeah, because, you know, I'm like I said, I started late, and, you know, I'm 35 now, so that's why every time they offer me like a 2 weeks notice, I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. I can't fight. I'm not going to nitpick and choose, and you know, and like I just want to fight. I don't even care about if the belt comes, then it comes, you know, I just want to make money.
And what's interesting, like, you know, you said that you looked up to Cowboy, but he was the same way. Like, he just took everything. He was like, 2 weeks, I'll fight.
Yeah.
Like, that's a equivalent, like, outlook of just fight as much as you can because you genuinely love doing it. And I think that can separate a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how because I remember being at his ranch, I'm like, man, how the fuck did I end up in New Mexico? It's crazy. It's like this fighting shit is taking me all over the world. But yeah, like I was a big fan of him and his style, like anyone, anytime, anywhere, and shit, I'm the same.
You won. So this. You're on a four victory streak. This would be going into your fifth. Obviously, fuck. I fucked up here. How preparing for like the like going into this like fifth streak? What's the most thing you got to deal with kind of going into this next fight?
Coming into this next one is kind of like similar to pretty much most of my fights. In my whole career, is like my striking is like kind of so good, so I gotta like work on takedown defense, and Magny's style is kind of like putting you on the fence and trying to work you down and take your back. And we've been working on a lot of defense with that stuff.
And then how's your grappling?
Grappling is good. I mean, that's why it's easy for me to like take these short notice fights, because really that's why I gotta focus on when they offer me these things. Like, all right, we just gotta pick up the grappling defense, and because I train like pretty hard most of the year, all year round.
So you never have time off?
Nah, I don't have time. Like I said, I'm 35 now. This shit's not gonna last too long. I'm trying to stretch it as long as I can. And
you look good though. You look young. I would say you're 25.
Yeah,
standing across the road here.
Yeah, a lot of people say I look a lot younger until I take out my hat, see white hairs and shit.
They got white hairs. That's
Hell
all
yeah.
right though. That's just
Hell
some
yeah.
stress. Let's see that shit. No, I'm just
okay.
kidding. Just tattoo the head. Is the head tattooed?
It's about to be.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Did the kiss hurt?
Man, they all hurt. All tattoos hurt, but I love them. I be getting a tattoo and I'm like, man, why in the hell do I do this? And I'm done. I was like, oh yeah, shit, it's cool.
It's the chest, because last time, the chest. When did you get the 1986?
Not too long ago. I mean, I've always wanted to be out. That's like the LA culture. It's like, well, it's a kind of a culture thing now. But growing up, I always wanted to just be my whole body just tattooed up, because that's what I grew up around. It's like, to me, it's just like who I am, and I just like tattoos.
Style, I like how you said, though, every tattoo hurts, because a lot of people be like, oh, no, that doesn't hurt. I'm like, yeah, right. Every tattoo I've got hurts. Like, some hurt more. Some are just, like, real loud in the head. But pain's real,
I don't know. Yeah, when it hits the bone, it hurts me. Like, if it's tender, I'm okay with it. As soon as it hits the bone, I hate it.
I got this area tattooed right here. That was actually really painful. Because the guy was like, I'm going to do this so hard and so deep that you never have to get it redone. I'm like, thanks.
We grew up getting shitty tattoos our whole life.
Yeah.
We got like tattoos over our body of just moments in time.
Yeah, I have one shitty tattoo. I let my uncle do it.
That's all right. What was it?
It was like a skull kind of.
Well, that's a good looking tattoo, though.
Yeah, it's probably the worst one I got.
Then you're not doing too bad.
Yeah.
Dingo's got some really bad
I think the
ones.
most painful one would probably be like the solar plex area.
Ooh.
Man, that shit hurts so bad. Or like my hips. That one hurt really bad. That's the only the one on my stomach. That's the only one where I had to stop. Like, all right, bro, I'm done.
You're like, okay, that half an hour felt like 4 hours.
Yeah,
I got one on my butt cheek. That didn't hurt too bad.
I actually have one on my butt cheek too.
What?
Oh, look at you two.
Wow. I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Is there like inspirations for you for other fighters that are like in their 30s or above that you kind of look up to, that you're like, all right, they're still doing it? There's a couple fighters in their 40s, right? One of the Australian guys, I think, is 42, but
yeah, I mean, I might be able to, fight till I'm like 40 something, because like I said, I started late. I never really like trained martial arts. It's all been like just regular workouts, and I'd like to think that I have minimal damage on my fights. I'm not really getting all beat up or nothing like that, and I feel like I got a lot more mileage on me. I feel good. I feel like I'm in my prime right now, so that's why I'm like, it's time to fight. So if they offer me another fight right after this, I'm down to fight.
on those two losses you had, how bad like did your body get pretty fucked up?
No, they were just really close fights.
They went to decision?
Yeah,
Both of them, right?
Yeah, one of my fights in the UFC and my first loss in the UFC, hopefully my only loss in UFC. I mean, everyone thought it was a split decision, and a lot of people feel like I won that fight. I feel like I won that fight, but you know, I kind of learned the lesson not to leave it in the hands of the judges with that fight.
Well, that's it, right? Like that happens. You know, I think that happened this past weekend watching the fights, and it is what it is. And if you do leave it to the judges, then it can go any way. And that's just not MMA. That's fucking anything that's judged.
Yeah.
That's
I know.
snowboarding.
I mean, I feel like that's got to be one of the hardest parts, right, of a fighter is like you finish the fight and then it's in the hands and then you get that like, you know, 17-2 and you're like, oh, I don't like that too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you should win 4 more fights and they should take one of your losses away.
That's how it should work, right?
I think so. That way you can get back to like, yo, now I'm 22-0. What's up?
Yeah.
So only one loss in UFC, and what was the other loss in?
My other loss was in Combate Americas. It was like another close fight. Everyone thought I won that one, but I fought that dude in his hometown in San Antonio.
Yep.
And man, I remember rewatching it, and I was like, the people that were commentating on it were just trashing the guy, and even he was surprised that he won. But it happens, you know.
So your records carry over in different divisions, or not divisions, different companies, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, so if not saying, but like if you were to fight Bellator, the same record you have goes across. I didn't know that. That's something I didn't
It
know.
just doesn't in another sport because I have a couple fights in boxing.
But that doesn't doesn't transcend.
No.
How'd you do in your boxing fights?
I started doing boxing fights. I only have 2. I have 2 pro boxing fights. I never fought amateur, nothing. Because when I first started MMA, it was really hard for me to get fights. I had like 3 fights that pulled out, and in the beginning, I was like, man, I gotta do something to stay active, keep fighting, and I was like, shit, I'll try boxing, you know. So I'm 1-1 in pro boxing.
I like that. The difference in cardio, so is boxing doesn't necessarily have to be 12 rounds, right? It could be whatever.
I think starting out is 4 rounds.
4 rounds,
Yeah.
and then goes up to 6, then goes to 8, then goes to 12.
Yeah, boxing is different though. And both of those fights, I was like, damn, these guys hit hard. Boxers hit hard as hell.
What gloves were they?
I think they were 10 ounce.
10 ounce. What gloves are you guys fighting in UFC? Like
I think 4 ounce
6?
glove.
4?
I think they're 4.
I'll be honest, like the reason why I think boxing's taken such a hit is because it gets boring. I love Mayweather. I think he's done a lot for the sport, but most fights you watch him fight, he's going to dance around and he's going to win, but you're not going to see a knockout. And I think the reason why MMA and specifically UFC leading the way has taken over from boxing is because it's exciting. When people fight, not only because of all the different variations of how you can end the fight, let's face it, people are watching the other fight, people want to see somebody get knocked out. In a UFC fight night, you're pretty much guaranteed, if not to see a knockout, you're going to see something pretty close to it. And that's, I think, a lot to do with the size of the gloves. Like, imagine if UFC had size 10-ounce gloves and nobody ever got knocked out. It wouldn't be what it is today.
I think it's the size of the gloves, but also, like you said, like how many, I mean, it's everything. You could submissions. I mean, that's what's exciting. You know, when they're grappling on the ground, that's cool.
And the fighters, the amount of fighters like everybody's got can relate to someone. And boxing, you know, there's not really that much exciting fighters that there is.
Not
in
right
UFC
now.
or MMA.
And that's why Jake Paul and this whole little...
They're not even real boxers.
They're
he's
not.
even a real boxer, and he's killing it.
making real money.
Yeah.
And people are transcending
Why
into that.
is that? Why do you think that the boxing game has gone down so much?
I think Mayweather, like the whole
Mayweather?
Mayweather era, kind of just, killed the excitement out
But
of
the
it.
boxers you announced earlier, and even going back to Mike Tyson, like when Mike Tyson fought in the late 80s and early 90s, you were guaranteed a show. And when these heavyweights got together, the heavyweight thing was a deal, and then you had the Oscar De La Hoyas and all these. It was exciting.
Yeah, I mean, up until like just recently, it's got exciting again with like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, and like the heavyweight division was dead for a long time.
Dead.
That's what I was
It was
going
dead
to
for a
say
long
is like,
time.
I feel like there was such a big gap from those big heavyweight fights where like Mayweather and everyone like came in and put on the biggest, shows, but you weren't like getting that heavy hitting thing you really like, you know.
Do you remember how hyped we got when Connor and Floyd were gonna fight? Like that was whoa, this is gonna be insane.
Well, it was
That
cool.
was actually a great fight.
That
It
was
was.
a great fight.
If you had stopped it at round 6 or round 5,
It
I
was
remember-
exciting.
I remember the first couple rounds, I was like, no way, bro. Connor's doing amazing.
Yeah, like it was exciting. Like everyone like got together. We were all watching. Like that's when I was just like, boxing is back, you know. And then
then it slowly
and
disappeared
then
again.
it went down again.
But I do enjoy what we're seeing happen to Jake. But I think we're going to see more and more of it. I think you see Nate Diaz
I
go
think
over
that's
there.
what- I was going to say, I can't wait to see Nate.
Yeah.
Who do you think he'd fight?
Jake Paul.
Oh, you
Yeah.
think that's what's
You
going to
think?
happen? He hates him. He hates
Who,
him.
Jake
Even-
hates him.
No,
or he
Nate hates
Jake?
him.
Even
no,
better
no.
reason to fight.
Yeah, I could see that too.
They
I
can
could
sell.
see
They
that.
can sell the hell out of that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I love
good
his,
one,
I
right?
love his style.
Nate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just like something, it's just his own style. And
It's
he's
pure.
just pure, like doesn't give up anything.
Yeah.
And he could take some hits too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he gets better as he gets
Yeah,
along.
and he doesn't stop coming at you.
Yeah. I feel like you can take some hits too.
Yeah.
Do you like being hit?
No. I try my best not to.
Yeah. Well, that is a good thing. All right, so we got here that the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. Who do you consider the strongest baseline sport in MMA? A lot of people say wrestling.
Wrestling.
You agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the toughest. It's my least favorite to train.
Right. So that means it is the toughest.
Yeah.
And you would have learned that at a later point in life too.
Yeah. I honestly, I used to think wrestling was I used to like, man, nobody trying to see these fools hugging.
Well,
You know, 'cause
right.
I grew up a boxing fan, you know? I was like,
Yeah.
you know, I grew up like thinking like, oh, kicking's for pussies, you know?
Yeah.
Until I got kicked.
You got a good kick on you too, though.
Yeah,
I've seen you throw a couple big kicks.
yeah, that comes from when I first started, I have my head coach was actually 5-time world kickboxing champion, Kathy Long. She's like real popular in the 80s. And she actually sent me to the yard with Joe Schilling after I got to a certain level. She's like, yo, we got to take you.
How was your time with Joe?
It was cool. Joe's gym is really tough. It's got like it's authentic, like Thailand style Muay Thai.
Yeah, and he has a reputation of being tough.
Yeah. Yeah, he sure is. He's tough. He's a tough dude.
What's something that you want to? What's something you wish right now that you could add to your like row of like mix in with what's something you wish you could? What's something you need to work on the most in your fighting style right now?
I don't want to expose that right now. I gotta fight.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's
yeah.
a good point. My bad.
I'm kidding, man. I could probably use a little more jujitsu.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I mean, I'm on like a high level purple belt just because I haven't really been. I'm probably higher level, but since like I moved to Vegas, I haven't really been going and training that much with Eddie, and he's the only one where I want to get my belts from. So as soon like now that I just recently moved back to California, and I'll be training back over there like full time. And
Do you
I'll
notice
get
the
my brand.
difference of training in California to Vegas? Is there an altitude difference?
No, I don't
Not
really.
really,
feel that.
right?
I know Vegas is a little bit higher.
A little bit high, but not much. Have
Yeah,
you
I
ever
think
had to fight in like Colorado or any of those areas where altitude's a problem?
No, but I've trained in altitude. I think Cowboys Ranch is like somewhere like 6,000 or 7,000.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's not easy. That's not fun.
No, it's not. I remember the first time I was going out there, I was just so excited to be there. I was like training at full capacity 3 times a day, and then the first week I was just burnt. I just burnt out, and then it took me going a couple of times there to realize like, all right, when I first get here, I gotta ease into it. Yeah, it's pretty tough though.
And when you're at Cowboys Ranch, like, I mean, he obviously shows so much of just, you guys are just doing everything, right? Like, so it's like you train, you get on the bikes, you get on the horses. Is that just every day, all day? What's the schedule at Cowboys Ranch?
When Cowboys in fight camp, it's train at 8. You know, I wake up early. I make sure I eat something. We train at 8, and then, you know, Cowboy hops on his tractor and he does his thing. And then at 12, somewhere around 12, we'll do some kind of like other training. That could be either swimming or, I don't know, riding bikes or some crazy shit that he always likes to do. And then eat some more and then train later, hit the sauna after. That's every day. But in between those times, I mean, he's got, sometimes we'll, you know, go on his paintball course or
throw
shoot
knives.
some guns and throw knives and
Cowboys Ranch sounds
fucking
sick.
make knives.
Yeah.
You know,
He bought this ranch. He bought a house. I've known Cowboy for a long time. He bought a house, and then it's like on this ranch in Edgewood.
yeah.
And then he bought the house like behind him, and he just turned into this massive like training and sportsman compound.
He has a racetrack on his
Mm-hmm.
That's
land.
crazy.
Like I think it's like a mile
That's
mile
cool.
or two long.
You rode horses there too?
That's the first time I ever learned to ride a horse.
That's
The
scary, huh?
Funny story is the first time I ever rode a horse, we were doing a music video. And Cowboy was like, all right, D, we're gonna throw you on this horse. I was like,
He's got you acting out there,
I was like,
too.
how do you Yeah, like how do you drive this thing, bro? This shit-
Yeah, I know.
it's weird. The horses are some powerful animals, man. Like,
Yeah.
It's weird being on one and my first day, I was like, all right, cool. I'm just sitting on it, you know, because we were doing like this kind of Mad Max style music video, and I had these big old like boots on, and my feet could hardly fit in the stirrups. So the second day, we were doing this scene where we were chasing Cowboy on the horses, and I'd never done that before, right? So I had a spear in my hand, and I had.
And you've never ridden a horse before. He's got you on the
I
horse.
hope he makes you guys sign
day
some
two.
kind of something before you walk into that ranch, you know?
So I have a spear with the head on it, and I'm holding the reins, and then I'm like, all right, let's go, let's do this shit. But then my boots were slipping out the stirrups, so as soon as that would happen, my legs would just clinch onto the horse because I'm like holding on. I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna fall off. So the next day, like my legs were just sore in places they've never been sore before.
Yeah, a lot of clinching. I took Danny on some fun horse
It's the
rides.
scariest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yo, we in Argentina, we went and stayed on this gaucho farm, this like meat farm, and we played polo on the horse, but bareback. They play polo with no saddle.
Just a little rug.
So you just
over
got a
it.
rug in the rein. So you've got no stirrups, nothing in between. So you're literally just holding onto the horse while swinging a pole around, trying to get a ball in a fucking net.
I played goalie. I was like, I'll just sit here, hit the ball when it happens.
Yeah, horse riding's a fun thing, man. I think Cowboy's going to crush it in this movie stuff he's doing too. It's been really cool to see over the years a lot of people from MMA end up in the movie world. There's all sorts of different people that are doing backup stunt shit, and then people to being lead like roles. And I think he's like an American. He's like an American hero. I remember seeing him in a NASCAR event. I think we had just sponsored him, but he was there for, I don't get this wrong, who was his beer sponsor? It was Bud Light, I
Yeah,
think.
Budweiser. Yeah.
One of those things. And those NASCAR people ate this dude up. He shows up in his tank top. He's got his hat on. Like he was built for it. Fun fact: the first fight that we ever sponsored for Monster Energy was at Staples Center when Ronda went in and tore that girl's arm off in like 15 seconds. I think that was 2015, and I think that was the first ever official Monster Energy UFC partnership. And I sat right behind him, and I was like, "Who's this guy blocking my view with the cowboy hat on?" Ended up being Cowboy Cerrone.
We have to get him on the show.
We have to get him on the show. And
Yeah, I seen him recently. He's fucking jacked, bro. He's like,
Well, he
He's big,
retired
right?
now, so he's
He's like-
just like, go for it.
yeah,
you know?
he's like 230 or something like that.
Oh,
220,
wow,
something.
really?
Yeah, he's big.
wow.
He's noticeably.
He was also somebody, even his peak, he'd fight and then fight a week later.
Yeah.
That's
Anyone, anytime, anywhere. You know, that's where I get it from.
Yeah, I like that. I like where that come from. So shout out there. Who else on, like, apart from, did you watch the recent fights last weekend? Do you watch a lot of the fights?
I didn't even know they were on that early. By the time I woke up, it was like the main event was on.
It was already over.
Yeah.
It is weird how they kind of do that. I know they have that huge deal there in Abu Dhabi, and that seems to be really working out. But it must be hard trying to advertise that way, because I know a lot of people that are involved in it that don't know what time it is.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine how it is for the fighters adjusting to
Yeah.
the schedule over there, you know, coming from, say, over here, and your body's used to training at certain times right here. So I wonder how that would be.
I think they have to go there for so much longer. I think they go and spend 6 to 8 weeks there. So it's not like I think they do most of their training camp there, unless you're from like the UK or Russia or somebody. But the Americans, I know most of them they're over there training for like 6 weeks. So then you're fully acclimated to that time period. Your sleep patterns on, and whereas right now, I mean, you're like here with us, and you're fighting in a week and a half.
Yeah.
Whereas they're there and they're, freaking 6 weeks out or 8 weeks out or whatnot. Whereas, so typically you would do your training camp and then go to Vegas for the last 2 weeks or last week?
No, I lived in Vegas for, after like my first or second fight. Actually, I was with Cowboy, and I had fought in Vegas before, but I didn't really know about the PI until I was in the Mike Perry fight camp, and then I came out to Vegas with Cowboy, and then we trained at Syndicate, and he kind of showed me the Cowboy treatment over at the PI, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know they had all this like that. And I decided to just come out to Vegas for like maybe a year or two, and just try to just take what I can from it. But the injury happened, so that was like a little setback. And with his last fight, I decided just to move back to California. So now I'm living in California. When I have fight camp, I'll come out here. I'll go out to Vegas Monday through Friday.
Yeah, right. So that's easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that far of a drive. I'm used to driving all the time anyways.
I love that drive. But you prefer living back at home, right?
Yeah, I mean, all my family is home, my friends and family. I mean, that's the main reason why I moved back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I mean, she's a Vegas girl.
Yeah.
I
just moved back to Vegas, but I've been out in LA for like 11 years. But all my friends and family are in Vegas, so flip-top.
But I feel like mostly for MMA, UFC, you guys, like there's Vegas and then like almost like Sacramento, like San Jose are like the three places where most of the gyms are.
I know Florida's like a hotbed for MMA.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, like
Albuquerque too, though.
Yeah, they have a lot of fighters over in Albuquerque. I mean, it's kind of like where Albuquerque is really really popular because the elevation over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Does John Jones have it? Is that where John Jones is?
Yeah, that's where he trains.
Is he gonna fight again soon?
Yeah.
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 Who's he fighting?
He's fighting in New York,
Isn't
isn't
he
he?
fighting Stipe?
Yeah.
Is he?
I don't know.
Fighting Stipe?
I'm not 100%.
I'm not 100% either. Google it.
I know.
We can't say
100%.
anything that's wrong, but I think he's fighting in New York. Isn't he?
Stipe, who fought Stipe last? He got hurt bad. Not hurt bad, but he was. You're just like,
Who's the champ right now?
who's the champ? We could look at that.
I don't even know who the champ is right now.
I know.
Oh, it's Francis. No, he didn't fight.
Oh,
Francis.
Nagara.
Did he?
What was who fought Francis last? Was that Stipe? He beat Stipe.
Shoryugan?
Fuck.
Dingo likes to look at me because I've been with UFC so long. He's just like,
not
don't you
helping.
know? I'm like,
She's not helping. Francis is the champion right now, but we'll just end it there.
Not for long.
Not for long?
Not after my guy gets to him. I tell you
No,
that.
he's not fighting Francis.
No? Why not?
Man, I'd see.
He'd have to start eating cheeseburgers and never stop.
Oh,
Not even that would help. That guy is huge.
yeah.
really?
Yeah, I see him all the time over at the PI and just like standing next to him. Like, man, that's a big ass dude.
Yeah, it's crazy because I weigh a bit. I sometimes look at those guys and I'm like, that'd be who I'd have to fight. I'm like, that's fucked.
Well, it ain't looking any better in my weight class, dude, I'll tell you what.
But you saw I mean, what I wanted to get at is I think on the fight over the weekend, obviously Oliveira lost, but I think there's a new champion in the town that's going to be here for a while.
He looked impressive in that fight.
Didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, before that, Oliveira was like, considered the best in the world.
Yeah. And even
Looked
Oliveira
like
you could see in the octagon after going up and they had a little talk and you could see that Oliveira was like, dude, clearly you're the fucking champion for the next however long,
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's gonna be champion for a long time.
Yeah. That style of fighting though, it just seems like it's calm. Sometimes, it could be boring, but it's still they're the rules, right?
He's like Khabib Jr. Pretty much, right?
I think he is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like how Khabib's calling out his next fights for him too.
Yeah, I think he's gonna fight Volkanovski.
I think so.
Yeah.
Would that happen in Australia?
That'd be cool. I'd be tired. I'm not sure what would happen.
Have you fought? What other countries have you fought in?
I've only fought in Mexico outside the UFC.
You fought UFC in Mexico?
No, I haven't. The only other place I fought was in any of the countries in Mexico.
Oh, in Mexico, but you boxed.
No, it was MMA. I fought for Combate Americas.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that. Australia has big crowds. Australia, the last time they did it there, they had like 60,000 people. They do it in a place called the Telstra Dome, Etihad. No, I think it's called Marvel Studios now, Marvel Arena. But they get like 60,000 people there. Can you imagine being at like a football arena and being up in the nosebleeds and then going to watch?
We've had a fight. I think they did one like that in Canada, in Toronto. It was like it was one of the biggest crowds. I don't know if it was obviously a football stadium, but we've been in those. And when you hear them, and we're just we're the cage in the middle, but you hear them just roar across. It's something like you've never heard before. It's incredible,
right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
incredible.
that's awesome. That's what I felt that in my last fight. The crowd, like you just feel the like all the energy is all in that little spot in the octagon.
Just
It's
like
crazy.
fully focused right down there, and like there, all
could
the
feel
voices, you could feel it for sure. So that's why it's always interesting when I hear that Apex versus being with a crowd. It's just two completely different feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you land a hard shot, you can hear the crowd. If you land a hard shot in the Apex, you can hear the hard shot.
It's so true.
Daniel, we really appreciate you here at Monster Energy. We fucking love you. Danny does this thing at the end called the lightning round, and then we're gonna do one more thing after that. That's the first time we've ever done anything. We're gonna join in on the Twitch chat that we have live here within the office. But we really appreciate you. We appreciate on the short timing, and also, good luck. You're in the middle of fucking training camp, so we really appreciate you coming down.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
All right, D-Rod, what's the dream venue for a fight?
Stable Center.
Most meaningful tattoo you got? Last tattoo you got?
My last tattoo I got was a pair of Jordans.
What? That's fire. Favorite fighter growing up?
Boxing or MMA?
Biggest LA legend inside or
He didn't
outside?
answer.
Yeah.
Boxing.
Boxing.
In boxing, I'd say Oscar De La Hoya.
Biggest LA legend inside or outside of MMA?
Kobe.
What piece of advice would you give your younger self?
Save your money.
If you could punch me or Dingo in the face, who would it be?
I gotta go with Dingo, bro.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna hit the chat. Twitch, we're joining in. We have a video, I believe, we're not ready. We're gonna get there. We're working on things. I see a chat. Am I playing this video? No, I'm not. People are yelling at me. All different. Favorite pizza shop in Los Angeles?
It's a place called Setabello Pizzeria.
Where's that?
In Pasadena. It's
Dang.
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. It's my favorite pizza place. And there's one in Vegas too. So
Oh,
Well, that's not good.
that's good.
What about your favorite cheap pizza?
Little Caesars.
What? I'm a Domino's
That's cheap,
guy.
cheap.
I used to grow up
That's
on
cheap,
pizza.
right?
Yeah, it
how
is cheap.
Cheap,
Yeah,
how
it is
how
cheap.
cheap are we going?
Yeah, you're right. Because there's one time when I elevated to my highest point in my career, I got to this offer from Totino's Pizza Rolls. And everyone's like, yo, that's selling out. I'm like, not for me growing up. Like, this is my childhood dream right now.
Totino's.
Did you take it?
Yeah, for course.
For course.
For course. 4 courses.
Free Totino's and lots of money.
It wasn't lots of money, but it definitely was like about 1 million Totino's rolls. It's like 10 grand.
All right, so am I playing this video? No. I'm just gonna hit the chat. All right, we got all right, who's above D-Rod in the welterweight? All right, we got the chat open, but we don't have any questions in there.
Who's above D-Rod and who shouldn't be?
Ooh.
Oh, I like that. All right, so who's above D-Rod in wait, where's that question?
The bottom.
It just says what's above D-Rod in welterweight rankings? who shouldn't be? Who shouldn't it be?
Yeah, who's over?
My next opponent, actually, I'm ranked number 14. He's ranked number 13.
That's an unlucky.
Oh, that's your
number.
rank right now?
Yeah.
13. Yeah, 13's an unlucky number. Or to some people, it's super lucky.
Yeah, I mean,
that guy's gonna
in
get
Los Angeles,
smoked.
like number 13 is like a cool number.
Yeah, it's a cool
Oh,
number.
that's right.
All right, I'm going to hit the chat here.
Might want to stay there for a little bit then if you get that number.
Yeah.
You're like,
no,
no, I'm
cool.
gonna skip a few more.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like a LA gang member Mexican thing. Everybody has like their hood and 13 for like the letter M, Mexican mafia. You know, it's a thing. It's a thing. I wouldn't mind being ranked number 13.
All right, so that
From a
would
city.
fit in for you.
From a city.
So if you beat him, that means you go to 13, he goes to 14?
I don't know how.
I don't know how it works. I'm gonna look at Brittany again, and then she's not gonna say anything. But theoretically, you would think that, because I was thinking about that for Sean O'Malley. He was just whatever in the teens, but then he just beat the number one contender. Does that make him now number one?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Like, I know, like Kamzat, when he beat Gilbert Burns, he was like, I don't know, number 14, something like that. And he beat,
All right, so I know I already talked to you about this, but we got a question here. Did you watch the Sugar Yarn fight, and who do you think won? Did you miss that?
I didn't get to watch it live. I watched highlights actually this morning.
Right.
And,
Opinions?
I mean, the highlights don't really tell the fight. It just showed Jan taking him down a couple times.
So I can break it down for you a little bit, but Jan took him down a lot, but he got back up every time. So if you're taking somebody down and they get back up, then obviously it's scored a point as a takedown. And I would say that the first round, that's what this fight went to decision on. And it literally could have gone either way. Second round, Jan definitely beat Sean. Third round, Sean definitely beat Jan. So, right, you scrap those two, and you go back to that, goes back to the first round. And that's where there's a lot of people upset. I've heard a few people say they went back and watched the full fight. And watching the full fight, Sean struck him a lot. Sean almost knocked him out. Like, there was one point where Sean clocked him and he went down. And literally, if Sean had got back in there, he would have finished him. But it just didn't. It was a really cool fight to see, because you also see that Sean can stand his ground with top 10, whoever you want to talk about, right? Like, he's definitely earned that. But the controversy definitely comes down to that first round of Jan took him down a lot, but every time he took him down, he got back up. Any other questions?
Live question from the crew.
Live question from the crew. Let's go.
Is that okay? Are we allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
What is a bucket list way to win that you haven't hit yet? Maybe it's a specific submission. Maybe it's a certain kind of knockout. What's on your bucket list ways you would want to win?
In one of my fights, Joe Schilling, actually, it went kind of viral. Joe Schilling was in my corner, and he had the speaker on. And I remember this one time we were at Cowboy's house, and it was the first time I ever did mushrooms. And and I was doing this crazy spinning heel kick. So Joe was like, "Wait, let me see, do that again. Let me see it." And then we started working on it. But in the fight, I think it was versus I forget who it was. I think it was Mike Perry. And it's crazy because Joe's like, "All right, remember that time we were on mushrooms and you were at the ranch, you were throwing that kick, the mushroom kick, throw that shit."
Did you throw it?
So I would love to win a fight with the mushroom kick.
The mushroom kick.
I love that. I like that. All right. What's your pre-fight ritual? That's from D-Roddy Denny. Pre-fight ritual.
Pre-fight ritual. Smoke a joint. I'm just kidding. Actually, my last two fights I smoked a joint.
Really?
That's
Before
all right.
the fight?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because I train, I'm always smoking weed.
Train
but-
high,
Yeah.
fight high.
get high scores.
Yeah, get high scores.
All right, we'll get one more question here. Does Leon Edwards have any hope of beating Usman in the rematch?
Honestly, Usman was doing great. It looked like he was gonna win the fight until he got knocked out. You know?
Until he did it.
I was winning until I lost.
That's how it goes.
I mean, it happened in the last 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Fuck, were you there? Did you do that one? No, it was in Utah?
Yeah, I was there.
How was the energy on that one?
I mean, that's always just like when you see it, it's just like, whoa, like everyone just gets blindsided. But I mean, that's the fight game. That's why it's so fucking exciting.
All right.
Like you never know.
Well, D-Rod, we fucking love you, dude. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming in, and good luck in your fight coming up. As our first fighter ever to be in camp,
Yeah.
Let's
on the
go.
Unleashed podcast.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Thank you for having me.
Unleashed with the Dingo and Danny. Fueled by Monster Energy.